by 2013, I wrote the first ever macro strategy piece to value Bitcoin. It was at $200. And I said, if I look at it versus gold, how much we know is above ground and how much we know is below ground, and look at that relationship, like with Bitcoin, what's mined and what's yet to be mined, it should be worth 700 ounces of gold. At the time, that would have been $1 million. And it was trading at 200. I'm like, maybe I'm wrong by 90%. It's worth $100,000. This is the best investment opportunity of all time.
In this recent interview on Paul Guerra TV with Raoul Pal, we learn about the evolution of Bitcoin as the ultimate global asset, the role of institutional money in shaping crypto's future, and how Bitcoin's adoption could impact the financial system. Before we get into this discussion, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel. And make sure to check our description for some great deals with Gemini and eFani. Now let's hear more from Raoul Pal.
We'll talk a bit about why crypto matters in a bit. So that started me on the crypto journey. The other part of the journey is I wanted to help people. I felt uncomfortable being at the center of the financial system with all the knowledge, with all of the cool kids, the hedge fund managers and the banks, when I can see that the whole world around me was changing, that people wanted to take control of their finances. And so I thought the best thing I can do is democratize the knowledge that I have and that we have within the financial system. And so I reached out to some friends of mine, famous hedge fund managers, and said, would you publicly talk about what you're thinking and stuff like that? They've all got egos. They're like, yeah, of course. So I'm like, so I can get the world's most famous investors to talk about what they're thinking, what they're investing in. So this was 2014. Video had barely started. I think YouTube had been going for 2 years. So it was still really, really nascent.
Yeah.
Netflix had only just started. So we decided video, which we knew nothing about. So we formed a company, 4 of us, in a small village in Spain. And we decided to build a video business, of which none of us had ever made a video, edited one, or anything. And that was the thesis, is we know fuck about fuck. We didn't know what we were doing. We were just going to do it because we knew it's probably the right medium to educate people. So that was the rise of Real Vision. So crypto was part of that, as have a whole bunch of other things. We've got the world's most famous investors, analysts, strategists together, democratized access, created a subscription business, and helped as many people as possible. It's the same story. Too much debt, and everyone has to serve, and not enough economic activity to pay for the debt. So if you go back, you've got a big credit card bill. If your wages aren't going up, but your credit card bill keeps going up by 20% a year by interest, before you know it, your credit card bill just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can't pay it back. Now, governments are lucky because what they've got is the ability to print money.
Right.
We don't get that. But it's the equivalent of getting another credit card to pay your credit card.
Yeah.
That's what's going on as the population of most of the Western world gets older. Old people, if you think of your parents or your grandparents, they spend less money and they don't do productive work because they've retired. So we're fighting this mega trend of the baby boomers from World War II. The kids who got born after World War II are now in their 70s. And that was the largest cohort of people in all history. And so what we've got is slow growth, but massive debt. So what is happening is governments are having to print more money. And again, anybody from South America understands this. They print more money to pay the debt. But your wages don't go up. They only go up a bit. But what happens is things like houses, scarce assets, houses, gold, or even your ability to buy US stocks, they just keep going up. So you're getting poorer. Your wages buy less. I'm not talking about buying bread and cheese. I'm talking about buying assets. What is an asset? An asset is future deferred consumption. You buy an asset like stocks. Let's say you buy an ETF in the S&P 500. Why do you buy that? Because in the future, you want to sell it to be able to spend the money.
For a profit, yeah.
Or pass it on to your kids, whatever it is, but it's to be spent. And it's supposed to have a rate of return above inflation because you need to be compensated for locking your money up for 20 years, or whatever the period of time is. But what we're finding is that those things, so that future opportunity for yourself, is becoming more unaffordable. It took me 3 times income to buy my first house. And now for the average person, it's 10 times income.
As we just heard Raoul Pal discuss Bitcoin as a global asset and its potential to transform finance, now let's hear more about the role of institutional money and why its entry could solidify Bitcoin's future. Now let's listen to what Raoul Pal has to say.
Oof. So you can buy less of a house. You can buy a third of a house versus what I could buy with the same economic circumstances. You know, when I was 28 years old, most people can't do it now. So this is the problem that is happening in the world, and this is not going away. And so governments are printing money to keep servicing this debt, which is, again, for anybody here who's from Argentina, Venezuela, anywhere, even Ecuador, everybody's done it. And then eventually the system collapses. The system doesn't collapse this time around because it's the US doing it and the Europeans and the Chinese, but it's really the US system of fiat money. Don't forget, the dollar is the world's reserve currency. Again, anybody from Latin America knows, what do they want? Dollars. They don't really give a shit about anything else. They want dollars. And dollars are 87% of world trade. It makes the world go round. The world is 400% of GDP in debt, of which 200% of that is dollars. Dollars, 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 dollars. And the US controls it all. It's called the world's reserve currency.
Right.
So when they debase currency, it's very difficult for them to lose control unless the entire world loses faith in the dollars. But then where do they go? There's no other currency. What are you going to do? Buy the euro? No, it's equally shit. Arguably worse. So they have this privilege of having the world's reserve currency. And then they debase it, and scarce assets across the world go up. So it's making everybody poorer. Everyone's in the same boat. It's like a slow motion version of what happened in, let's say, Venezuela. But it's just slow. It's 8% a year. So you don't see it. It's not like 1,000,000% hyperinflation.
Right.
8% a year, but you're getting poorer by 8%. Then there's inflation on top. Call that 3%. So 11% a year, your wages are getting poorer. All as kids would save money.
Right.
Well, so you need to save 11% of your income every year to just stand still. Right. So that doesn't work. And then you can say, okay, if you're in the US or the UK or something, they'll say, well, invest in your pension and buy the S&P 500, buy stocks. Great, sounds good, because stocks go up by about 11% a year, 12% a year. Average is around that over the last 20 years. Great. So that doesn't get you ahead of the 11% of debasement, 8% debasement, 3% inflation. So you're going nowhere. You're locking up money to go nowhere. Okay, it's better than nothing. Gold is the same. Most real estate is the same. So you're like, oh, okay, how the hell do I get out of this trap? Now, you have two answers. One is to invest in yourself and build a business. It's hard, but that's what you have to do. You have to generate cash flow to invest. If not, you can't invest.
Right.
So you need to generate cash flow. So you invest in yourself, build a business, do whatever you can, hustle, work 3 jobs. That's what everybody's doing. But then the real magic is, what do you invest in? And it's basically down to the 2 big mega trends. There's 2 trends that are so obvious. One is technology. Tomorrow is more digital than today.
Yes or no, and then it's a basic yes. It's a no-brainer.
And it'll go up and down at various points, but over time, there's nothing to stop the digitalization of the world. And we're seeing AI as one of those mega trends that goes on top of the internet, etc. The other one, which is actually technology, that's also built on top of the internet, is crypto. But crypto is like having a share of the internet yourself. So imagine how empowering that would have been. Imagine if every person who used Facebook was given a share in Facebook.
Retired.
We'd all be super rich.
Yep.
That's what crypto is. And so you can invest in this, and it goes up at about 100 to 150 to 200% a year, depending what asset, including 3 80% drawdowns. Okay, now you can unfuck your future pretty quickly, because if you've got $1,000, but it goes up 100% a year, it just compounds and compounds and compounds. And now you've got the secret. It's the big secret. It's the big opportunity. It's, in fact, the biggest opportunity of all time.
To watch the full interview, check out the link in the description. Raoul Pal highlighted Bitcoin's evolution, the entry of institutional money, and how adoption is reshaping the global financial system. We would love to hear your thoughts on some questions. How do you see institutional investment changing Bitcoin's trajectory? Do you believe Bitcoin can act as a hedge against inflation long-term? Thank you for tuning in to Only the Savvy. If you enjoyed this discussion, please subscribe, like, and share our video for more engaging content exploring the innovative world of decentralized technologies. SIM swap fraud is sweeping the globe, and your mobile security is at risk. Switch to Ifani and lock out SIM swap fraud and get the most elite mobile protection in the world. Ifani guarantees 100% protection from SIM swaps backed by a $5 million insurance policy. Stay secure with reliable coverage, free international roaming, and unlimited data. Trust Ifani to keep your communications and assets secure. Get military-grade protection, 24/7 concierge service, and a hassle-free upgrade. Click the link below for $150 off. Thanks for watching. Help support this channel and receive exclusive offers from one of our partners located in the description. We'll see you on the next one.